What is up, Packers fans, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Draft brought to you by the good folks at Badger State Brewing. I am your host, the one and only publisher of Packer Report, Ross Uglum. I'm very excited today to be talking to you about Travis Glover, the third of the three offensive linemen that the Packers took in their effort to fortify depth. Uh, probably kind of develop a track for the future of, okay, this guy in a couple years might be our swing tackle. Maybe this guy's our starting left tackle. This guy, of course, being Jordan Morgan, but sort of replenishing what was lost when David Bakhtiari left and Josh Neiman left and John Runyon Jr. left. I think it made sense to sort of restock the cabinet, and that I think is part of what they did with Travis Glover. I think the number one thing that sticks out about Travis Glover, I've talked about teaching you guys about the 80%. 80% of the Packers draft class usually goes according to plan from an athletic profile standpoint. They kind of take their guys for 80% of the draft. A lot of times they take their guys, when it's early in the draft as well, like the top 100 are really going to be guys that kind of fit into what they do. And then I talk about the scratch and dent store, right? The guys that maybe it's a little bit different where when you get to round 6, round 7, even sometimes round 5, certainly undrafted free agency, the Packers will stray from what they normally do. And Travis Glover is straying from what they normally do. Certainly that isn't to say that he was a wasted pick or that, there's anything wrong with it. Um, at this point, I think you're just trying to find football players and see, where they might be at. Why is he so outside of what they do? Right. Okay. So he's right in the height weight stuff, 6'6" flat, 317. That's a tackle for them, or maybe a tall guard. I'm not sure how much they're going to try Travis at guard, but at 6'6" flat, you're not like out of the question. Right. It's workable, I think, right at that size. Um, Very poor agilities, which is not Green Bay Packersy, right? Especially on the offensive line. A very poor broad jump. Again, not very Packersy. An overall relative athletic score of 4.71, which, we've talked about as athletes get bigger, faster, stronger. You'd think a 4.71 is really, a 4.71 is really what's close to average, right? 5 is average, right? Yes, but these numbers go back to 1987. And the average NFL athlete in 1987, 1995, 1999, 2002 are just not on the same level as the guys now. You can see the data skewing towards recent guys, better training, better nutrition, call it evolution, call it whatever you want, right? Guys are bigger, faster, stronger. There's no debating that. And so when you're a 47th percentile athlete by RAS, you're not an average athlete because you're an average athlete since 1987, which means in today's game, you're giving up some stuff. With that said, though, on the positive side, play strength is excellent. Right, he's a big dude. Just checking out my notes here. Run blocking, and that what it makes me think maybe they give him a look at guard. I don't know. Run blocking's good. Anchor is good. Like a lot of guard stuff, but at the same time, and I think probably the reason Green Bay looked closer at this kid is how well he acquitted himself at the Senior Bowl. You're going to have those competition questions when you spend as much time at Georgia State as he did. I'm sure, especially after his second to last season, he probably had significant opportunities to go to wherever on a NIL deal, on a transfer portal opportunity, right? I would guess that a kid, especially down in the Southeast, I would guess that there are plenty of schools in the ACC and SEC that would have taken a look at a Travis Glover, stayed loyal to Georgia State, whatever that's worth. But that does bring in, the level of competition questions, and so I think a lot of those questions were answered for the Packers at the Senior Bowl, and I think that's a big deal. As far as you know, when we discuss uh, how guys fit in, that black and white chart that I made, right, of all the tackles that they've taken in the top 100. Now, of course, we're definitely not talking about the top 100, but all the tackles that they've taken in the top 100, all kind of be in between 6'6" and 6'4", all kind of be in between 300 and 321 pounds, all that. And Glover, at least at his pro day or whenever he weighed in, I think he was listed as kind of an enormous, like 330-pound type dude. And that's when we do talk about the scratch and dent store, right? Where you've got a Caleb Jones at 6'9", 370. Well, Ross, they must think there's something. Well, A, Caleb Jones doesn't play, and B, they got him at the scratch and dent store. They didn't put, a ton of resources into Caleb Jones. Well, what about Kadeem Telford? Yep, at 6'7", 322. They're looking at him. They're not playing him, and they didn't give up any resources to get him. Okay, but what about Sean Ryan? Right, and Sean Ryan and Donovan Jennings, like him, are guards for them. And so Travis Glover is just, hey, this worked. 6'6", 317 is right in what we do. We like the way he played at the Senior Bowl. He's an experienced guy. He might be ready sooner. Like, might not have that ceiling, but might be ready sooner. And I think Travis is just another example of, them thinking they're pretty good. Them thinking that they're good right now. And, bringing in a 5-year guy like Travis Glover, bringing in Donovan Jennings, and I've made the comment, and I mean it. I would have taken Donovan Jennings, who's 24 years old, and I think probably a big reason why he fell. Folks probably think he's maxed out, which whatever. I mean, Donovan Jennings, crazy as it is the same age as Rasheed Walker. And anyway, the basically the point is I would have taken Donovan Jennings over Travis Glover. It doesn't matter. They're both on the team now. It truly doesn't matter. Interesting to me, just looking here at the Packers roster, trying to see. Okay, so they did that to everybody. Just trying to see where the designations that these guys were getting. Although Jordan Morkel, that's interesting. So this is a very minor departure here. Jordan Morgan is listed as a tackle. Just it says T. Working back up to what I was looking at here, Jacob Monk is listed as an OL. Zach Tom is listed as an OL. Donovan Jennings is listed as an OL. And Travis Glover is listed as an OL. Everybody else has a tackle or guard, a tackle or guard designation. Caleb Jones a tackle, Sheed tackle, Telford tackle, Sean Ryan guard, Dillard tackle. And I think they are setting themselves up for some versatility with Travis Glover. And like I said, that 317 to 320 pound frame, like you can get away with that at guard. And I don't think that 6'6" is too tall. Plus, I think some of his lateral agility, which is evident on film, his lateral agility issues that are evident on film and evident when you look at his relative athletic score and you watch him test, or you look at, the results of his testing. I wonder if that isn't a little bit more, what they might be looking for there. I think they're probably hoping, if you put all of their guys in, their guys with the offensive linemen that they took, you put them all in like boxes. I think they definitely want Jordan Morgan to be a starter. That's obvious. You take him in the first round. That's kind of a duh thing. I think they probably want him to be the starting left tackle. And whether Sheed takes another jump forward and makes that a moot point, those are what we call champagne problems. Those are good problems to have. They probably want Jacob Monk to be their starting center next year. I would guess that they want him to beat out Josh Myers or just play well enough in 2024 that in 2025 they know they don't have to extend a contract offer to Josh Myers. And I think they probably want Travis Glover to be the swing tackle. And that's exciting. Or I shouldn't say exciting. That's sensible in that, no, he's not the athletic profile of a guy that you necessarily want on the field in the NFL. Like, you don't want a below average athletes guarding your um, protecting these high level passers. But man, you go back to 2022 and just look at, we've talked a lot about with like Oladapo, talked about with the safety group, talked about with Morgan. Like, Jordan Morgan's versatility is theoretical, and it's based on his body size, it's based on his testing, it's based on things he does well. For example, he's got a good anchor, moves people at a decent rate in the run game, so you feel like he can play guard. Then you look at a guy like Evan Williams or Javon Bullard, their versatility is proven. It's not theoretical. It's right there in front of God and everybody. They've played nickel. They've played strong safety. They've played free safety. They've played it all. They've done all the things. Travis Glover has kind of done all the things. Last year, full-time left tackle. The year before that, 346 snaps at left guard, 326 snaps at right tackle. In 2021 for Georgia State, you've got 816 snaps at left tackle and 76 snaps at left guard. In 2020, again, went back to being a full-time left tackle. So he has played all over the line. And then you go back to 2019, 980 snaps at right tackle. So when we're talking about Travis Glover and your good and bad, right? When we're talking about a player with this much college experience, I just mentioned he's 23. He's played in 5 different Georgia State seasons and played. Like, this is a fifth-year guy that got 998 snaps as a true freshman, and because of the COVID year, just kept playing. I don't know if this is a record because I've seen some crazy numbers. 4,164 snaps, especially at an FBS program. Because I know, like, I covered North Dakota State, and the FCS has a 24-team playoff, so you can play a bunch of games. You can have 15, 16 game seasons. For this dude, and I don't think Georgia State went to a ton of bowl games. I'd have to look. I could be crazy wrong on that because they would have just had to get to 6 wins in the Sun Belt. But my God in heaven, for this kid to have played 4,164 snaps, I mean, the Packers might think they have a pretty quick turnaround on a swing tackle here. A guy with actual experience playing both sides of the line, not just someone they think can play both sides of the line. And that's where we get into projection, right? That's what this series is about. What, if everything goes right, and please understand, people, and I'm not saying this because I didn't love the Travis Glover pick. I didn't, but it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter in the 6th round. It just doesn't. He's got like a 20% chance of making it. And that's not due to my evaluation of the player. It's not due to my thoughts on Travis Glover. It's the math of the people that are taken in the 6th round and how often they make it. And by the way, him just being Green Bay's swing tackle and getting 300 snaps in a season because this guy or that guy got hurt would be making it. Him being Nyman would be making it in a huge way. Like, if Yash was a 3rd round pick, he would be a success story right now. That's maybe on the border, but for sure, if Yash was a 4th round pick, he would be a success story. He is an unbelievable success story as a UDFA. Unbelievable. With that said, as the projection, the development track for Travis Glover, it's a 1-year deal for Andre Dillard. I think he's Andre Dillard if everything goes well. If everything goes well. And by the way, in a very different way, because Andre Dillard is a superb athlete and hasn't been a great football player. Travis Glover, at least at Georgia State, has been a very good football player, but not maybe so much with the athleticism. Okay, they're very different ways. But I think if everything goes well, unless Dillard is just awesome, and then you don't let awesome offensive linemen leave for no reason. But I think the plan would be it's a 1-year deal for Dillard. He's your backup tackle, first tackle off the bench, unless it's Morgan. You never know how the best 5 is going to fall out, but I think he just replaces replaces Dillard after this year. Tons of experience at right tackle, a little bit of experience at guard in college, tons of experience at left tackle. If he can, utilize his ability to play both sides, that's a swing tackle. And that's what I think they want. And by the time they're actually going to ask him to do it, he'll be 24. He'd be in his mid-20s. Get him with Steno, get him with Butkus. Not a huge ceiling just because of that, that athleticism is lacking. You look at some of the good tackles right now, like Zach Tom's a really good athlete. Bernard Raymond's a really good athlete. Both of the Vikings guys are really good athletes. Darisaw and O'Neal. Trent Williams, he's a monster, man. And that he's old, but you go back and look at his testing. He's a freak. Not only is he good at football, but he's a freak. At tackle, you need to be pretty athletic to be kind of have a high upside. There's not a ton of poor athletes doing really, really well at OT. But hey, man, if this guy ends up being a swing tackle for one 6th-round contract, he's an awesome pick. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you're liking the new gear, and this is by the way, I just want to tell you, this is based on an actual, if you can get a look at this is based on an actual issue of Packer Report from back in the day. Obviously, the coach was not Matt LaFleur in the picture, and the QB was not Jordan Love. I would ask, because we don't have like access to some digital. I find these things on Google search. I find these things on eBay. If you have some more cool designs like this that you'd like to see us modernize and make into merch, send them in. Like, I'll continue researching, but if anybody has old Packer Report stuff with cool stuff like this on it, let me know. Campeche Collective, I'll have hopefully Andy drop the link in the description if you guys like this. I love the dad hat. We had a really cool like yellow trucker hat, or green with like yellow backing that I still have and I've worn, I think, before on this show. But this dad hat is super clean, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying rocking it. You can find all this stuff. That'd be a huge way to help us out. Other than that, join us over at Packer Report. Follow me, follow Packer Report on X, and do everything you're supposed to do here on the Pack a Day Podcast YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, click the bell, get the notifications so that you can get all the Packers content you require on a daily basis. Have a great rest of your day, guys, and go Pack Go.